Am I wrong for canceling the trip after my fiance decided to bring her 10-year-old son with us? I, 33 male, have been with Natalie, 32 female, for 2 years. We're getting married soon, and she shares custody of her 10-year-old son with her ex-husband. Ever since her ex-husband got sick, Natalie kept bringing her son over more often. Sometimes her mom would take him due to work, etc. We've been having issues because of that, because Natalie has to bring my stepson with us wherever we go. Yeah, that's kind of part of being a step-parent. Like, that's her son. What do you want her to do? Just leave him in the ditches? Like, duh, what do you mean? We started going out less and less. Since it's been a whole month since we've gone out, and since her ex has gotten better, I've arranged for a little trip to the beach for the weekend. It's supposed to be a couple's getaway. She was excited for it and prepared for everything. The night before the trip, she comes up to me and says, "Hey, Tom is sick again, and he asked if I could take Taylor to spend the weekend with us." I was gobsmacked. I asked what she told him, and she said that she agreed. She then proceeded to tell me that she'd like to take Taylor with us to the beach. I got upset and told her not to bother because the trip was officially canceled. You are really throwing a temper tantrum over her having to take her 10-year-old son. This is her son. This is not her brother. It's not her dad. This is her son. This is the person she's in charge of well-being for. Oh my God, you're supposed to be a stepdad. Like, why are you acting like a little kid? Ugh. She looked at me shocked, but I told her she shouldn't act shocked or surprised after she successfully ruined yet another opportunity for us to have quality alone time together. You don't get that as much as you want because she's a mom. Dummy. She went on about how she couldn't believe that I expected her to ditch her son since her mom was busy as well and getting a babysitter wasn't on the table. I just shrugged and I told her it was done and then I walked out. I went with the guys instead and she's been upset, saying I could have just agreed to let my stepson Taylor come with us and we would have had at least some family time together while Tom gets better. She said I was the one who screwed up. So am I the asshole?
This is my psychic story time. One thing about me, I love a psychic. I love going to one, her telling me all about what's going to happen in my life. Tell me absolutely everything I need to know about my future. Around a year and a half ago, I went to this psychic with my best friend, and we went to her because my best friend's friend told her, like, I went to her a year ago and everything she said came true. So I was like, we have to go to this bitch, like, immediately. So the psychic's talking to me. First thing she brings up, she's like, you're not meant to work a 9-to-5 job. And I'm like, I never was. The psychic tells me, she's like, you're thinking about moving to 2 places, because I was in between New York and LA. And she was like, it's gonna be New York. And I was like, I didn't even tell her anything because I don't say a word. Because I want her to be a psychic and read my shit. She's like, you're going to move to New York. You're going to go there a couple more times. And I hadn't even visited New York yet. She's like, you're going to move after the first of the year. She was right because I moved in February. Keep in mind, I had my best friend in the room with me the entire time because I needed her to take notes because I knew I'd forget what the psychic was telling me. And then obviously I took notes when my best friend went too, but I was like, take fucking notes. And then she gets into my love life. And she's like, June of next year, you're going to meet a man. He's going to be your coworker. And you guys are going to date for a really, really long time, like 10 years kind of vibe. And you're going to have a child together. I was like, a child? I literally don't want kids. So I was like, are you positive you're not picking up on my best friend's energy? Like, I don't want to pop out a motherfucker anytime soon. She's like, no, like eventually later in life, like you're going to have kids with this guy, but you're going to meet him in June of next year. So flash forward to April of this year, I meet my ex through work. We're full on coworkers. So that entire relationship, I was like, we're gonna get married and I'm gonna have your baby and I don't even want babies. And it made me stay in this relationship 20 times longer because I was like, my psychic fucking said I'm going to date my coworker. But she told me it was gonna happen in June. I was like, it came early. So June of this year, I meet another coworker. But at the time I met this coworker, we're both in relationships and I see nothing of this. So August comes around this year and I get brutally cheated on. And before that happened, my coworker like leaves his relationship. So somehow, let's just cut to the chase. Somehow my coworker and I end up becoming a situationship. So in the back of my head this entire time, I'm like, holy fuck, is this the coworker that my psychic was telling me about? Like, I'm gonna have his babies and like, what the fuck? So I'm mentally freaking out because that's just, I was gonna say something really mean. I was gonna say something mean again. I just didn't see myself having babies with a man like that. And not in a bad way, it's just like, he was so far from my type, but we had an amazing connection. So I was like, of course, like put those balls in my mouth, you know what I mean? But during this entire situationship, I'm in my head like, is this the guy that my psychic's talking about? No, it wasn't. It literally wasn't. Love him dearly, great guy. We just didn't work out. My psychic also told me, she was like, before you move to New York, there's gonna be like a really hard time and you're gonna have to like close the chapter out in Chicago. Wait, I forgot to mention, when I went to the psychic, I was like in love with this man, and like we weren't talking or anything, and it was actually like a really weird man for me to be in love with. All my friends were like, Livy, why the fuck do you like this guy? The whole psychic meeting, I'm like, okay, wait, so like you're positive, like I'm not going to fuck my boss, like you're positive about that? It's like, your boss is not your soulmate. I'm like, noted. But anyways, the hard time, my friend like passed away, fully died in January of this year, and so like the psychic was right. That was definitely a hard time, but it brought like all my friends and I really close. So before leaving Chicago, it was good to have that moment. Like, RIP to my queen, I love you so much. My psychic also told me that I'm gonna be like famous and amazing and all of those things. She's like, New York City is gonna be like for you. That's where you're gonna make it, all those things, right? Like, I knew that, and I just wanted her validation a little. Anyways, skip forward to my best friend's reading as I'm taking notes. She's like going off about my best friend being like, wow, all these amazing things are gonna happen to you. I'm like, yes, that's my bitch. Like, we already knew this. She's like, leave that toxic ex. I'm like, finally. You told her, I've been telling her, hopefully she listens to you, right? So I'm in deep with my friend's reading. So she keeps telling my best friend, when she keeps going like on and on about her success, and I'm like, slay, queen. But then I'm like, wait, what the fuck? Like, she wasn't this passionate about me. The psychic's like finishing up her reading, and she's like, any questions for you? Any questions? And I'm like, wait, like I actually have one. Like, am I gonna be this successful? Like, is that gonna be, like, is that happening? And she's like, yeah, like, I literally told you that. My best friend's like, Livy, what the fuck? Like, she literally told you that. So that's my psychic reading.
Am I wrong for sitting on my husband's lap during Thanksgiving dinner because all of the chairs at the table were taken? I, 28 female, have been with my husband, Sean, 33 male, for 2 years. Married for 5 months. Most of his family are decent people, but his mom can be a little passive-aggressive and tends to criticize me a lot. Sean sees it as her still not getting used to me being around, but I don't know, because she treats his ex, Jalissa, good. Mother-in-law says that Jalissa has been around the family for ages and her past with Sean never affected her relationship with her. Fine. I never minded her attending every holiday and being around until yesterday. We had Thanksgiving at my mother-in-law's house. Sean went there before me, and when I arrived, it was already dinner time. Everyone was seated, and I saw that all the chairs were taken. I asked mother-in-law why she didn't save me a seat, and she said sorry, and that one of her granddaughters decided to show up last minute and the chair was taken. I looked at her, then at Jalissa, who was sitting next to Sean, and tried to point out how I was more deserving of her chair since I'm the daughter-in-law. I know I shouldn't have said it, I know. Mother-in-law flat out said that Jalissa is as much family as me and that it was rude to imply otherwise. Jalissa was nodding confidently while glancing at me. I was so upset I wanted to leave, but decided to just sit on my husband's lap and act as casual as possible. I sat on his lap asking if he was okay with it. Don't worry, I'm petite and he's strong-built. And started eating so casually while smiling and complimenting the food and mentioning to Sean how warm and comfortable his lap was now and then. The table went awkwardly silent. Brother-in-law would try to break the silence and change the subject, but it somehow goes back to being awkward. Mother-in-law and Jalissa were barely eating and were staring at each other, then at me, eyes wide open. I'm sorry, I still cannot get over the fact that your husband's ex is at your Thanksgiving dinner. Minutes later, Jalissa excused herself to the bathroom and so did mother-in-law. It was still awkward, but I did my best to focus on dinner. Sean was eating as well. Later, there was just so much tension and mother-in-law was barely able to speak after Jalissa left. She left early, like right after dinner. Sean and I went home and mother-in-law tried calling, but then called Sean and texted me saying that what I did was inappropriate and that I ruined Thanksgiving dinner and made it awkward. She said it wasn't her fault that chairs were taken and that I could have dragged a chair from the kitchen but acted childishly and made Jalissa and family uncomfortable with how inappropriate I was. I need to mention that even if I took a chair from the kitchen, there was not enough space at the dinner table to fit the chair. Everyone was sitting next to each other. Am I wrong for showing my twin sister's OnlyFans to our parents? I, 18 female, and my identical twin sister, 18 female, have always had a competitive relationship. We've always fought over everything, guys, clothes, friends, etc. But our relationship came to a halt a few weeks ago when a mutual guy friend of ours sent me a link to an OnlyFans profile with an attached message that stated, "This you?" Confused, I clicked on the link and was shocked to discover that the profile belonged to my twin sister. The profile picture was very clearly a scantily clad image of her, and the username was my nickname that literally everyone in my life uses. I asked our friend about it, and he told me that he discovered the profile through Twitter and then subscribed to the profile, which included dozens of videos of her doing spicy things to say the least, solo and with partners, all of which with her face showing. I was floored and in a fit of rage showed the profile to her parents. I mean, literally anyone who saw that profile that knows us would immediately assume that it's me, considering she's basically going by my name. Our parents forced her to delete the profile and she hasn't spoken to me since, claiming that I not only ruined her main source of income, but also betrayed her trust. However, I think that she betrayed my trust by going by my nickname. So, am I the asshole?